Wherever you are, welcome to yet another of my takes on China from the road. This time is the wonderful city of Wuhan, where we're experiencing some rain today. But that doesn't matter because it's a rest day and I've got time to do some research and write some articles, which, when I'm not writing, is actually what I love doing. We've been working with media here, and there's a video of this coming out in a couple of days from them. And when it does, I'll post that onto YouTube so other people can see what we're doing here. I wanted to talk about Trump's China now, and about how he's not only doubling down on trade, he's accusing China of being the protagonist. He had the temerity a couple of days ago to issue a post on his Truth social media, which actually would have made me cry if it wasn't so funny. In it, he claims to have rescued China. 2 weeks ago, apparently, we here in China were on the verge of civil disorder. And because he tacoed, which means he chickened out again, Trump always chickens out, he dropped the tariffs. Well, the simple solution, in my opinion, is if, as he says in his post, that China has, all caps, totally violated its agreement with us, simple answer is to put the tariffs back on. Then let's see how Christmas works out in America. Every single day I'm more and more reminded of the 2006 movie Idiocracy, where a man with a very ordinary IQ is thrust 500 years into the future in a military experiment gone wrong. He wakes up and finds he's the most intelligent person on Earth. Of course, being Hollywood, there's no rest of the world. Earth to them is the borders of the United States of America. Something the rest of the world is now starting to realize, and exactly as Kishore Mahbubani pointed out in his book, leaves the US as the most isolated place on Earth. Honestly, I sincerely believe that I can go to the far reaches of Mongolia, where I'm heading soon, and find nomads there with a better understanding of world affairs than the average educated American citizen. There are citizens of the USA who sincerely believe that Donald J. Trump has been sent by Jesus to save America. I'm not kidding, I've linked it. There are many of Trump's hardcore supporters who really believe this. Now please tell me that a nomad in Mongolia has a better sense of the world than this. Everyone I know in China now views the United States as a joke. What kind of democracy is it when a president is elected who can't string together a simple sentence without including the word China and drifting off topic to tell everybody how good he is? He's also a man with absolutely no empathy. But when asked about Biden's cancer, he went off on a rant about how healthy he himself is, and never mentioned a word of sympathy, in fact the opposite, towards Biden, his family, or his illness. That's not only a lack of empathy, but it's a complete lack of social awareness too. His time will come. So the USA has dumbed down the population so much that 78 million people voted for a man who might be sent by Jesus, who has no social skills, who is a convicted felon, and seems to have an agenda that very much puts his own family interests above that of the United States. He's hosted hugely expensive dinners. He's relaxed regulations for financial tools that his family has huge investments in. The kind of financial tools that the Chinese government has banned because of their lack of transparency and their ability to be used by organized crime on the black market. It's so strange that Trump and Vance embrace such technology while China rejects it. And people who want to argue this might, as a good thing, should simply look at the increase in poverty in the USA. In 2019, it was 10%. In 23, it's increased to 11. And by the end of that year, 2023, it was 13%. 43 million people living in poverty. Now, I've no doubt Trump can blame Biden for that. He usually does. But just remember, who was president in 2019 and 2020 when poverty started to increase? Let's see if it decreases in 2025. My bet is it won't. One of the biggest reasons it won't is because the drivers of innovation, the drivers of industrialization, and the drivers of reinvigorating a nation are its young people and its migrants. Immigrants are being rounded up and herded out of America, while the young people in the USA are facing increased costs for education, health, and just general living expenses. They're also losing the ability to find permanent, skilled work. Now that's something Trump claims he's bringing back, But none of the corporations seem to agree with him. They're offshoring, not onshoring. My guess is that this is going to get worse. Harvard University has just been denied the ability to enroll foreign students because they aren't following the administration's narratives. Now that's another bite of the apple that the US calls freedom of speech, freedom of thought, or freedom of action. You're only free if you follow the narrative. If you don't, then you're going to be punished. However, in the case of Harvard, we'll see if Trump's instructions are valid. It's being taken to the Supreme Court. Something not widely reported outside of Harvard's own magazine, which I've linked, is that Trump's decision has already been delayed. Harvard has been given time to prepare a case, and in the meantime can continue to host and enroll international students. But that can't be good for the students, especially those who are of Chinese origin. Now, all Chinese students everywhere are going to be deeply scrutinized and subject to removal if they have links to the dreaded CCP, or CPC as it should be known. But what does that mean? I would challenge any person in China to prove they have no links to the party. The party is completely integrated into society. Every single person has a friend, a classmate, a colleague, a family member who is a member of the party. Remember that 1 in 12 people in this country are members of the Communist Party. I was a teacher in schools here. In every school I met people who were members. Therefore, every single Chinese person who now studies in the USA and studied in China has a link to the party. At least one of their former teachers was a member. Probably their mother, their father, their cousin, their brother, or their sister is one too. It's impossible to go through life in China without a link to the party. So Trump has just put a seal onto the fate of every Chinese student. Even those from Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Macau, they're all going to be guilty unless they prove innocence. Unless they can prove they're anti-China, they will be deemed to be pro-CCP. Trump's era is going to be very interesting. Whether he can survive politically, economically, or even physically for the next 3.5 years remains to be seen. But what is most definite is that whatever legacy he leaves will leave the USA in a lot worse position than it is now, and it will enhance China's self-reliance, China's global reputation, China's safe, stable investment ability, and its economy, as most of the globe are not doing what he wants them to do. They don't elect a man who makes decisions and then chickens out. It's not a stable way forward. Doing business with China is open, transparent, and profitable for any well-managed company, even American companies. Whether we like it or not, the world is changing, and Trump is a catalyst of change. What will come out of his time is a very different USA, one that is more likely to be led by corporations rather than government. And there's one thing we all know doesn't work. That's electing the head of a corporation because he's popular. In China, the head of each and every department is there because he or she has earned the position and deserves the role. Trump is in power because some people think he represents Jesus. Some think he's a successful businessman, and others just believe that what he says he will do, he will do. There are, however, more than 250 million American citizens who did not vote for Trump, so there might be some hope for that country yet. Thanks once again for watching my take on China. Please like, share, subscribe. I've noticed that subscriber numbers are going down again. People are telling me, we didn't unsubscribe. YouTube is unsubscribing you. Please check. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.